Hello everyone, Mike Gaitis here, commercial real estate broker with Go Florida Commercial, helping you buy, sell, and lease commercial real estate here in Central Florida. Today I'm here with Jennifer Bondy and the Bondy Law team. Jennifer and her team have been practicing law in the area for more than 10 years, helping and counseling clients with legacy planning, probate administration, small business counsel, and real estate law. For the real estate law, they practice closing and title services, contract and lease renewal, loan workouts, and real estate development. Today, we're going to be discussing commercial leasing, looking at both the tenant and landlord perspective. Jennifer, thank you for doing this today.
Yes, thanks for having me today.
Triple net fees, CAM fees, fees that are in a gross lease. These are all terms in commercial real estate that talks about fees on top of the rent price. These fees can add to the cost of the lease, but what are in these fees and are they described in the lease? Who's paying what?
That's a great question. So certainly when I draft a lease for someone, I try and make sure that we're really specific about what type of repairs are covered by the tenant versus the landlord. If we're talking about a triple net lease, I mean, it could be someone thinks that they're responsible for interior walls versus the roof or the AC.
Correct.
So try and be really specific, especially if we have a clause that maybe talks about what a major repair is, right? So you may think a major repair is $10,000, but me as the tenant, I think a major repair is $1,000. So trying to be really specific about what those repair costs can be. Also, you had mentioned, I think, CAM charges. So
correct. Common area maintenance,
yes.
Typical in the industry.
Right. Common area maintenance charges are typical when someone is renting, like, let's say, an out parcel when there's, let's say, a shopping center, and everyone's going to be paying a pro rata share of expenses. Sometimes I see those descriptions from the landlord side to be very convoluted, right? The landlord
Correct.
wants to pick up everything they possibly can, but I think a tenant, especially from a budgeting perspective, wants to know exactly what's going to be included when they're doing the annual assessment for the CAM charges. So I know that I try and be as specific as possible, and I'm sure that's something you look out for your clients as well.
Yeah, maybe a clear definition of even like a triple net about the property taxes, the insurance, the maintenance, and how those can adjust. And so the tenant and the landlord understand that these need to be in there, and both parties need to understand these.
Yes.
It's so important.
Right. I think we chatted earlier, a commercial lease is so much different than a residential lease, right? In a residential lease, you pay, $2,000 a month, and that's all you're paying. You're not paying anything in addition to that. Where commercial lease typically are a lot more sophisticated, or in theory, the parties should be. And that then requires the parties to incur some additional expenses. So usually for a triple net lease, the rent is the base amount, and the tenant is also on top of that going to pay for property taxes, for insurance, and for maintenance, in addition to the amount of the rents. And so that can be negotiated through CAM charges if we're talking about a large expense that's going to be shared, or if it's a standalone building, then that's going to be adjusted on an annual basis based on what the property taxes and insurance actually are.
And I think even something along the lines of capital expenditures.
Yeah.
We have to understand whether or not that is going to be included in those fees.
Absolutely. Yeah. Capital expenditures, usually when the landlord is developing a property, they expend their own funds and they want to try and recoup the costs that they've incurred by passing that on to the tenants. And I think we can certainly argue both sides depending on who we're representing in the transaction, whether that should be included, but that should absolutely be spelled out whether capital expenditures are included in part of the CAM charges, and if so, what percentage and how much per year in order to get the landlord compensated for those charges.
All important stuff that both parties really need to understand, because they come up as questions later on once we're into the lease. Jennifer, I really want to thank you for doing this today. And if someone wants to learn more about commercial leasing and the Bondy Law team, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. We can certainly help if you're a landlord or a tenant looking for assistance with drafting a commercial lease. You can call our office at 407-720-9350. And our website is really simple. It's www.bondy.law.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank the good folks over at Splash Social Marketing for putting together this video series. They help businesses of all sizes with their social media, their marketing, and their website. they can be reached at splashsocialmarketing.com. And again, I am Mike Gaitis, a commercial real estate broker with Go Florida Commercial, helping you buy, sell, and lease commercial real estate here in Central Florida. Thank you.